Welcome to Relax Time Radio, broadcast nightly from 7:30 to 9 p.m. on Radio Thailand, Chiang Mai.
Hello. How you doing, Mon?
Good evening. Good.
Good evening. Welcome to
How are
Relax
you?
Time Radio. I'm pretty good, yeah. Yes, I'm good. Ready for the show. I've been on the microphone a lot today. I was recording a podcast earlier.
Nice.
Yeah. I see you keep outputting podcasts. It's nice to see.
Yes.
I've listened to a couple. I plan to, it's hard to get through everything, isn't it?
Oh my god. It's crazy. I'm booked out with my podcast until I think end of April because I had an amazing friend who connected me with like high caliber people.
Right.
And so they booked in, and I have like every week at least 2 or 3 interviews now until the end of April. So the year is booked.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, enough of podcasts. We're here. It's Friday. The something of something. It's Friday the 28th of February. Normally it would be the last day of February, but it's not. We're in a leap year.
Oh yeah.
So there's one more day.
I love it.
And
I forgot all the February birthdays in my family. Oh my god.
did you? I'm terrible with birthdays. So
I think every end of February I'm like, oh damn it. I'm so sorry.
So what are we going to be talking about today?
I thought we can venture a little bit in our life hacks topics a little bit more, and we talk about mindset.
Mindset.
Fixed versus growth mindset. What is it? And why do we want one more than the other?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to getting into that. I suppose because I haven't given it much thought, like at least from this particular viewpoint. So maybe I'll discover that I am fixed. Maybe I'll discover that I'm growth. Or I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to find out about myself yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'd love to get your input on tonight's show. What we'll be doing, apart from talking about fixed versus growth mindset in our life hacks topic, we'll also be playing new music. So either send us a message on our Relax Time Radio's Facebook page about the topic, or send us a song request. Mostly on Friday we play new music of any kind, really. Today, the songs I've found, I guess they're mostly in the sort of R&B, soul kind of pop genres.
Nice.
But a lot of new stuff. I found some great new songs, including a new version of a Leon Havas song, a new song from Justin Timberlake. All sorts of good music coming up, and of course the topic.
I love it.
We're broadcasting live on YouTube right now. I'm just about to share the YouTube video on our Facebook page when I've given a name. And that name is going to be Life Hacks. Life Hacks, fixed versus growth mindset.
That's right.
So, shall we play some music while I do that? That
Please.
seems like a good way to do it.
Yes.
All right. So, as usual, Biba Doobie, Space Cadet, and we'll be back with the topic. See you in a minute.
Feeling shit again. Haven't left my bed. Never brush my hair. And if you look me in the eyes, you'll see Terrestrial beings probably sitting tight, waiting to blow our brains away. Through the Milky Way, past the morning sun, Pluto is light years away, and all our worries, they're all gone. So quit being so negative. It's fine, it's only a temporary fix. You say I don't write happy songs, so I guess this is the first one. Through the Milky Way, past the morning sun, Pluto is light years away, and all our worries, they're all gone.
You're preaching to the choir, stop hating on yourself. Quit playing with your mind, you're spinning. If you think that I'm a lie, just try it for yourself. 'Cause clouds will open up, blue skies are willing. Yeah, I know it's so hard to throw away. 'Cause clouds will open up, blue skies are willing. Back on your feet again, just to hold it high.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, that was SZA and Justin Timberlake with The Other Side. That was one of those songs where it made me think the phone was ringing all the time. It had phone noises in. Did
Yeah.
you notice that? I kept
Yeah.
taking my headphones off and
I know.
looking at the phone. Okay, topic. So yeah, I've been looking at these things. Fixed growth versus growth mindset.
Yeah.
Well, so first of all, then, what is a fixed mindset?
So usually there are a few questions you can ask to see whether people have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. But one thing I want to say is that no matter if you have a fixed or a growth mindset, it usually depends on how you grow up. And most of the people grow up with a fixed mindset because of all of the things we've been taught, we see, we are told in school from our teachers, all the limitations we've been put on. So
Right.
just if someone out there is like, oh, should I have a fixed mindset? Don't worry. It's not your
Well,
fault.
Because
You
kids
know?
basically are naturally incredibly creative, and
Yeah.
and just because I guess how to put this, kids can be. It's not. I'm not trying to say annoying. It's just that parents and society and teachers and everybody probably gets frustrated because kids say, "I want to go to the moon. I want to ride on a flying octopus or something." And so naturally, everybody says to kids, "No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that." But they overdo it. They overdo the "no, you can't do that" until kids eventually say, "I can't do that. I can't
Yeah.
do this. I can't do that."
Yeah.
I think that probably is how a lot of it happens.
Right. I try to not use it with my niece and nephew. If they say like, I want to fly an octopus to the moon, I say, you go for it. We're gonna build you a flying octopus, you know?
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. How should it look like, you know? Green with yellow dots, fantastic. So I think but you're completely right. And I think it has to do especially with the time is money kind of pressure. There's just no time for kids to let their creativity run. And
Have you seen those like simple creativity tests where like you give people of different ages, a box of sticks or something, and ask them how many things can you make out of this? And very young kids can they never run out of ideas. They can make hundreds. It just depends how much time they've got. They can think of that many ideas. It just
Yeah.
doesn't run out.
yeah,
And the older you get, the less ideas. Like we think we
It's
get we think we
horrendous.
get smarter, and people like on their resumes when they've become like young adults love to say I'm creative, but the chances are you're not as creative as a really young.
and this
child.
is actually something that would make me cry if we were not on camera. But it's really horrendous because it's like, we're already drifting way from it, but it doesn't matter because it's really important to know
It's
that
not that
before
far.
we.
Yeah, well, it's
No,
kind of
but it's
related.
really important to know that because from the age of 0 to 7 is the most important age for kids. But it's also like 7 to 10 kind of. But 0 to 7 is the ages where kids do not usually, so in average, right? The average kid does not have their own opinion, and they basically don't question things. So the brain is basically just sucking in information.
Yeah.
So in a neuroscientific standard, basically, the brain is, we think it's a blank slate when we are born, but it's not.
Right.
So we are born with cognitive biases already, and they come from epigenetics. So just to bring a bit science in here.
Yeah.
And epigenetics is basically the memories and the experiences that your parents have made and kind of bring as a emotional connection to you, basically, right?
Yeah. Epigenetics fascinates me. It's like a new area of research, and it's so interesting. And right, like you say, it used to be thought in standard view genetics is that you can, what your parents or grandparents or whatever do in their lifetime doesn't affect what you inherit. But now it's known,
Yeah.
like the newer science of epigenetics, which is all of this material encoded around the basic DNA structure, to switching on and off of genes, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, basically the behaviors and lifestyles and patterns of behavior of parents and grandchildren, etc., some of that gets passed on.
Yeah, and interestingly, because you mentioned it, it has actually not as much to do with our genetically DNA,
Right.
but most of it is transferred, for example, through our intrinsic nervous system in our gut.
There's that too, but there's also gene expression, which is like, in other words,
Yes.
you inherit, of course, just one gene or one set of genes or from your parents, etc. But whether those genes are expressed or not, like you could say switched on or off, is that can be changed during the lifetime of parents, say. So there's yeah, I've read about like what you're talking about as well. There's stuff in the gut biome which is inherited as well, and then there's other stuff. But there is also something in the DNA which is changed. In other words, the DNA itself, the coding might not be changed during a person's lifetime, apart from by mutation, but the expression can be
Yeah.
changed. Yeah.
Definitely, but so epigenetics is more really about basically I want to call it like the memorial imprint of like emotions and memories and experiences, rather than a genetic, like a DNA imprint or set of DNA, basically, right? And whether the DNA is switched on and off. So, and it's really important to know that, because here's the thing. Let's make an example, right? So my grandparents both lived through the Second World War.
Yep.
And being from Germany, East Germany specifically, they actually lived in the town, which was the most bombed city in the Second World War, Dresden. And so my grandma, she was 13 years old, and she told me as much as I could get out of her before, rest in peace, grandma, she died, and we couldn't ask her any questions anymore. But I know the stories of the, in Germany, we call it the Crystal Night, which is February 13th to 14th. And 14th, obviously the whole day, because they bombed 15 times in these 2 days. And what happened is basically that because of this experience, she developed an extreme fear of losing family members, obviously, right? And so she had a very fear-based attachment style. And I recently found out that she basically, through epigenetics, gave that kind of to me. But it is imprinted to me through a different experience. So it was triggered from a different experience through me, because I died of a cardiac arrest, and that was kind of my trigger. So because I was about to die, not someone else around me, but this is how it triggered it in me. So why do we need to know that about this fixed mindset and growth mindset? Because people think we are born as a blank slate, and we are not.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
People think we have free will, and I don't want to make you cry tonight, but we don't. Not in the way that we think we do.
Not in the way that we think. It's a huge debate among. There's a huge debate, but it's not like we have totally free will. That's ridiculous, given the, just given the programming, as you say.
Exactly.
Given all of the stuff that we inherit and have no choice over.
Right.
Yeah.
Even the cognitive biases already, these, because
Right.
you can't control them.
Right.
Even if you see them, they will still work on you, so you can't just basically not do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
It's as if there's a fire right in front of you, and you know exactly you're going to burn, and you still walk right into it. That's how controlled it is. But anyway, so what happens is a fixed mindset basically is if you think you're born the way you are and you cannot change it, in regards to how smart you are, your skill sets, and any type of basically intelligence. So there are basically, as you said, this creativity thing, right? Some kids will basically find hundreds of different ways to put these sticks together.
Yep.
And some kids will say, well, I only know 5 ways. And then if you would ask them, do you want to learn more ways how to put these sticks into different whatever things together, they would say no, I don't think there are more ways. So they would refuse basically to learn something new because they think that the way they are born basically.
So you're bringing it back to this point, and like you're bringing it back to, some people have sort of inherited a fixed mindset, natural sort of acquired a fixed mindset, not through any fault of their own. It's just what they've ended up with, whereas other people sort of have a more open growth mindset.
Yeah.
Also for similar reasons, they've
Right.
just acquired it
Right.
arbitrarily and
Right, and
accidentally.
And it's also like bringing it back to the loop of how I started. It also in the first 7 years of your life depends on how you are encouraged to learn something new, to try new things. And as you said, if a kid listens to their teacher or their parents or their families all day long, as in you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you will never be able to do that, no, you cannot run faster, no, you will never jump over this wall, if you try to jump from there you will break your legs, then they will inherit this fixed mind that believing that whatever they try they cannot change it, they will not be able even with effort to learn it. That's why effort is not something they want to achieve.
Right. Yeah. So let's just give people an idea. I'm just looking at a graphic here that I found from Google Images, and apparently people with a fixed mindset say things like, either I'm good at it or I'm not. There's nothing I can do about it. My abilities are, unchanging. I don't like to be challenged. When I'm frustrated, I give up. I don't like criticism. When I get criticism, even constructive criticism, I ignore it. This kind of thing. I'm a failure. Blah blah blah. I will never improve. These kind of things.
Yeah.
So those are some examples of fixed mindset perspectives or things that people with a fixed mindset might say.
Right. And it comes really back to their beliefs. So all of these things can be changed. So just because you have a fixed mindset doesn't mean you cannot change it. But it comes back to the patterns that you've been experienced and seen, and to the beliefs that you adopted basically. And the belief is really like, let's just say there is a boy who wants to play football, right? But he really sucks at it. Like there's no way he's ever gonna make a goal or run fast. Like he's been always pushed away, and he has a fixed mindset. Then his thinking will be, well, I'm really just not good at football, at soccer, for example, right? I'm really just not good at soccer. I will never be able to make a goal. I've seen it. We're just looking at a huge mosquito in Paul's room. And then the mosquito's gonna have a growth mindset, trying to crow in blood. So, but this kid is just gonna be thinking, well, this is how it goes, right? I just can't stop trying. Whereas a kid with a growth mindset will be, all right, bring it on. How can I be faster? How can I get this ball in this stupid goal? Whom do I have to push out of my way to get closer to even try make a goal? Yeah.
The one thing that I sometimes think when people talk about free will being an illusion, which although I agree to a large extent that it is, or how people think about it's wrong, there's a problem, because if you tell people that there's no free will, then how are they to understand the idea that they could change themselves from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, for example?
Right. I think we have to make a differentiation between free will and you do have a choice. Just because there is no 100% free will doesn't mean you don't have a choice. So it really depends, right? But I don't think that it's even desirable to have free will, because if you go to the supermarket and you just want to buy a craft beer and you stand in front of this huge shelf, and suddenly you have like 527 craft beers, and you're like,
Yeah.
right, I just wanted one, right? And you have to choose. It's gonna take you ages.
We
and
talked about this. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago where you went into the decision fatigue? We kind of like touched on this.
Yeah, it's a while ago, but yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be there, and maybe you even leave the shop without a beer.
Yeah.
But if you walk in and there are 3, you'd be like, that
Yeah.
one with the dark blue label looks good, I'll take that.
I think a big part of the problem is we should just chuck out this phrase free will. It's a problematic thing and it gets in the way of understanding, I think, yeah.
But you do have a choice.
Yeah.
You have a choice for everything, and you need to understand that this is a superpower, because your choices are really what's gonna help you create your life. And you don't need free will. It doesn't really matter, like, if you have free will or not, really, to be honest. Like, you have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
Got
this
you.
is what makes it important.
All right. So we didn't list, I mean, I guess it's more obvious, but like we didn't list some of the things that are illustrative or indicative of a growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But they include things like, embracing challenges, accepting or even pursuing and asking for feedback and criticism, believing that just because you might not be good at a thing now doesn't mean you can't develop a talent for it or this kind of thing, that you can learn things, believing that effort is worthwhile putting in, not giving up,
Yeah.
keeping on trying, persisting in the face, perseverance, yeah. And being inspired by the and motivated by the success of others.
Yeah.
These kind of things.
I think the most important thing before we go and listen to a little bit of music
Yep.
is with a growth mindset, the difference to the fixed one is that you embrace failure. You don't see it as something that that you identify with, that is about you.
You don't identify yourself with failure. You
Yes.
just say, that didn't work, but it doesn't mean I haven't failed yet because I can do this another thing. Or
Right.
Yeah.
So because with a fixed mindset, people who fail, even if it's like a small thing, they will feel rejected without any worth. They will make it a personal thing about themselves, right?
Mhm.
So even if they get like an F, or for us it's a 5 or a 6 in school, a grade, which is the worst, right? They will be like, I failed at this. I'm like, I will never be whatever. They will always make it the worst possible thing. Whereas in the growth mindset, they're like, all right, maybe I should read another book, or maybe I should, So it's not really about them. It's just about the process that maybe didn't work, or
Mhm.
the way they learned the things that maybe didn't work, or maybe the topic is too boring, But it's not them.
Right.
Yeah, and that's really the most important differentiation.
Okay, let's take a break, and
Yeah.
then we come back and look at how people can start to move from fixed to growth mindset.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This is Bittersweet by Liana Havas. See you in a moment. If you have any questions for us about our topic or just a song request, please, you can send it in the YouTube live stream if you want. That's on right now. We shared that on the Facebook page, which is Relax Time Radio on Facebook. You can find us there, and you could even call as well, 053-276-793. We're right here on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai with the Relax Time Radio show until 9 p.m. tonight. This is Liana Havas.
Please stop asking, do you still love me? Don't know what to say. Let's speak in the morning. Please don't do this. I'm too far away. Don't know what to tell you, babe. No more hanging around. Oh, no more hanging around. Oh, now my sun's going down. Oh, telling me something isn't right. Something isn't right. Oh, bittersweet summer rain. I'm born again. All my broken pieces. Bittersweet summer rain. I'm born again. Oh, no more hanging around. Oh, no hanging around. Oh, my sun's going down. Telling me something isn't right. Oh, I slept all Friday and he couldn't get through. If we're good tomorrow, does that make it true? Not completely. We're picking that fight every day. Oh, this shit's going nowhere, baby. Bittersweet summer rain. I'm born again. All my broken pieces. Bittersweet summer rain. I'm born again. Oh,
I'm looking for real love.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, that second song there was Sunny Cologne and Morning Dew. That was pretty chill, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was relaxed time radio kind of stuff.
totally. And it was yellow, so good for me.
And it was yellow. So the question, I have a fixed mindset, but I want to adapt or get a growth mindset. How do I get started? Do you think it's like clear that people will recognize if they have a fixed mindset?
We can give them some questions. And the answers to either way, and if they relate more to one or the other, they know which one they tend to go to. That's usually how you would. I mean, the assessment whether you have a fixed or growth mindset obviously takes more time, and you need, like, it's always better to have someone assess it with you.
Mm-hmm.
But there are definitely questions, right? So let's just say, for example, you have a challenge in your life right now.
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes up for you is it either, for example, for a fixed mindset, it would be, I don't know what to do, everything in my life is bad, or it always has to happen to me, like all these kind of talking down on you things,
Mm-hmm.
or asking even questions like, why does it have to happen now? Why can it not just be easy sometimes?
So sort of like wishing it would go away instead
Yeah.
of actually trying to tackle the cause or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And if you have a growth mindset, some people, they're even like, oh, love me some challenges, so they're like happy about a challenge, or they're like, all right, it's not fun to do that, but let's see how we can get around that, right? So they're rather solution oriented.
Okay.
That would be, for example, one thing to assess, right?
Okay. So how do you start moving from one kind of mindset to another?
I think the easiest way where to start is, so if we think, for example, of the question, do you think you can learn any new skill? What do you think?
Yes, basically, yeah. But I'd be more afraid of some than others, I suppose. Like for example, you tell me whether this is like, this seems rational to me, but maybe it's just fixed mindset. If I were to think about doing acrobatics, I would think, I'm 6'7", and I haven't done anything like that. Not very flexible. That would be pretty daunting. I'd be pretty afraid of that. I wouldn't be afraid of learning a new musical instrument or learning a new skill on a computer, new software. I don't know. There's a lot of things, a lot of areas. To become an engineer or a doctor, I wouldn't be I think that any of those things were impossible. But the idea of becoming an acrobat, that would scare the hell out of me.
But would you try?
I'm not sure.
So, but the thing is, do you think it's possible? If you put in the effort?
Probably. It's probably possible.
Here's the thing. We don't think you need to win the Olympic gold medal, right?
Okay. As long as I don't have to win any Olympic medals, given that I'm way too tall and also 44 years old already and never have done anything like that for years.
6'7", I didn't know.
6'6". Sorry, 6'6".
I mean, it's still huge. I know I have to be like,
Yeah.
I think I'm 5'11", but I'm like, So okay, anyway, so the question, right? It's a really easy question. Do you think you can learn any new skill, right? And if you say yes, so I would say yes. I'm pretty sure it's not, the question is not do you want to. The question is can you? And for me, I know there are no limitations of can I, if I put the effort in. Do I want to? No.
Yeah, like if someone asked me, I used to have a fixed mindset. Like I used to think I was really bad at languages, but I guess I've learned one, and now I think, yeah, send me to China. I think I could learn Chinese. I think I could learn any language. That's definitely what I think, and yeah.
Right. So, I mean, obviously there will be always areas where we're way more comfortable, for example, to learn a new skill, and others not. But so if your answer would be like, well, there are skills I probably could learn, but most of them I wouldn't be able to learn, then you have a fixed mindset. And the first thing is start to learn a new skill. So it doesn't have to be acrobatics, and it doesn't have to be flying an airplane, but take something that brings you a little bit out of the comfort zone, but it's easy enough to learn. So let's say a musical instrument. I'm not saying it's easy to learn, but it is uncomfortable because it can be frustrating, it can be annoying because you can't get it right the first time or the first 500 times.
Right.
And you do kind of have to, keep doing it until you get it right.
What do you say to people, and I guess I meet people like this all the time, and I can tell that the biggest barrier to this, what we're suggesting here, is that they take failure a little bit personally. In other words, like supposing, what do you say to people who take failures personally in this sense? They take it to heart. If they were to try and, they don't start to learn this or that because they're afraid of failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they know that they feel like failure would, that's just proved to me that I was worthless as I always thought I was.
Right.
This kind of thing.
Right.
So how do you deal with that?
Right. So first of all, it's a really good question. First of all, I would start making a list with all the achievements that you already got, and everyone has any type of achievement. So there are things that either it's your university degree or you give birth to children. I mean, that's a huge achievement. I wouldn't want to do that. You moved countries from A to other side of the world. Like, there are so many things, and I promise you, even if you haven't been leaving your city or your home or even the little area, there's something that you have been achieving in your life. So every little tiny thing, you want to write it down, make a list, and then every morning and every evening, you want to read them out loud and see that you can achieve something. And then start with something where failure doesn't feel like failure, right? So if you're already good, for example, in saxophone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So try trumpet. Is it close to it? I'm really not good at musical instruments, but I'm trying.
The instrument itself is not especially close. You still have to blow. It's not really close, but what's close, there's musical knowledge that you pick up learning any instrument, and you can apply that to any other instrument.
Right. Or say, for example, you have a flute. So there are different types of flutes, right? So if you play one flute, why don't you take another type of flute and expand your knowledge on there? So you could start expanding your knowledge and making the failures that you experience so small that they are not feeling like huge failures, and instead you're winning more often.
I agree with you. Like to look, because maybe I haven't looked for the smaller things, but when I think of like bigger things, when I think of, I used to be much more negative about my possibilities, and learning a musical instrument and having learned a language has transformed how I think about how I could learn any new task, really.
Yeah.
So that maybe that kind of confidence came to me quite late in life.
Yeah. It's really interesting. When I look back in my life, I have never ever been scared to learn something new and fail at it all the time until I got into the professional corporate workforce in Germany, because their failure meant that you're the most worthless piece of,
Right.
garbage that is around. And so I maybe that was my experience only. I don't think so. I have many friends, and I've heard many stories about that. But
What would you say to your former self about that now?
that's very interesting, because I started my own business 3 years ago. It's coming to 3 years now. And I still have this internal fight with myself about this failure. So I know, like, logical, I know exactly, like, failure is what's going to lead me to success. I need to fail in order to climb the ladder and everything. Logical, it makes all sense. But the emotional part in me sometimes is still, especially because many things are online now, and way more people are watching you than in a collaboration in Germany, that I was watched by 500 people. Now I'm watched by like a few more online, and I get messages or threats depending on what I'm doing. And so it's like, sometimes it's like, all right, okay, am I gonna post this or not? Am I gonna talk about this or maybe not? So I think because the rate of failure for me has changed in the public perception, I have still sometimes this blockage. So I'm still working on that.
Have you read about studies done in schools which show that the kind of praise that you give to children really affects how they approach things, whether they approach things with fear or not? Like, for example, and some of it is a little bit counterintuitive, at least at first. So, for example, if a child has done really well on a test, and teachers or parents or whoever say to them, "Well done, what a fantastic score, you did amazing," and blah blah blah. Yeah, too much of this kind of praise makes children afraid of taking another test.
Yeah.
And they'll avoid taking a retest because they've done so well. They've got all the praise, and they start to become afraid that it was a fluke, and that if they do another test and don't do that well, then people will say, "What happened? How come?" This kind of thing. Whereas,
Yeah.
right. Whereas if the praise is sort of worded slightly differently, well done for working so hard on this. Well done for studying. So if you direct the praise at the effort rather than the result, that changes the perspective.
Yeah. It's actually crazy because the newest psychological and also neuroscientific studies have shown that you should actually not reward or punish and praise and punish kids whatsoever, but instead encourage in both ways. So if they've done really bad in the test, you could say something like, well, that result is not the best you've ever had, but you still tried and then encourage them to do better the next time. I'm not good with kids, so at least not when they're bad in school, I guess. But if they're really, really good, then as you said, right, instead of praising them for the results, you encourage them to do the same effort the next time as well, but still acknowledging their hard work. So it's more about like acknowledgement and encouragement instead of reward and punishment or praise and punishment, because it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's right. And what you said earlier about thinking of, one way for people to switch is to think about some success they've already had. That's been borne out in studies on schools as well. So, for example, often in school, if like children are failing, they just try and avoid the class. They withdraw from the effort, and they start to feel bad about their academic performance, etc., etc. Whereas, if you find in a school that, okay, this particular child, boy or girl, they're not good. They're not doing well in most subjects, but they're doing really well in art class. If you instead of sort of picking on the negatives and focus on the thing that they do really well and allow them to do that more, they can actually derive like great encouragement and self-belief or self-confidence from that thing that they do well, and that can spread out again that can spread to other areas. So like I do remember this in school, that that there's you sort of run as a child without the sort of psychological tools necessary to analyze it properly, which let's face it, many adults, maybe even most, lack as well. To analyze the situation, you sort of start to flee from the things you're bad at and sort of barricade yourself in the things that you're good at, and you don't learn how to, to grow self-confidence, or just let it not become too personal.
Yeah, totally. It's really interesting because when I look back, I always try to find I probably know, but there's like one time in my corporate life where they basically pulled the switch. They turned the switch from my complete on to off, in form of like, as I said, I was never fearful of failure or whatever, because I think my parents also my mom was always really afraid because I was like this sick kid, with all these chronic issues. So she tried to not let me do a lot of things. But my dad was just like, because I'm really daddy's girl, my dad was just like, let her do it, If she falls off the tree, she will learn from that. And I love that, and it's true. Like, I climbed the highest trees, and when I fell off, I never broke a thing. But I remembered that,
Yeah.
When I had leeches all over my body trying to suck my blood, I remembered I will not again try to collect a mason jar full of leeches and put them all over my body. That was a stupid idea, like things like this. So, and he laughed, I think he laughed hard very often about my experiments in nature.
So, let's say that you've already sort of decided that a growth mindset is the right way, and there's no point being negative and closed. So let's say you've already more or less adopted it as the way to go forward. How can you strengthen it? What can you? This is a very good question, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What practices can you do to sort of improve?
Yeah. So it's a really good question, because that's what I'm already also working on right now. First of all, I want to say you'll probably never be finished with this work. It's a lifetime work of improvement, but don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged from that, because just because you have to improve that or keep working on it, doesn't mean that it's hard. Okay, so I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's not hard. So once you understand the concept of this growth mindset, I think the number one thing is always awareness. You want to practice awareness in the moment, because in hindsight, awareness is easy. So you can look back now, and I can tell you about me in corporate Germany and now, and being fearful of failure in my own business. So I can make these comparisons, and I can look back, and I'll be aware of these things. But if I have to do a really hard task that for me feels really uncomfortable, and then I start procrastinating and I do something really different, and instead, if I then in the moment can be like, okay, all right, this is what it is, and I can go back to the hard task and just be like, okay, and this is how we can improve it, right? So when I have the awareness, I try to get away. Why did I try to get away? Just ask yourself, for example, in the awareness, why did I want to get away from the hard task? Well, I'm really afraid of rejection, for example, or the fear of failure thing, like I don't want to look bad on the internet or whatever it is, like in my case, for example, right? I really don't want to look stupid or whatever it is. And so it might be you might think like, in my case, this is a really dumb fear, Monique. Why would you be afraid of looking stupid on the internet? There are so many more dumb people out there than you. So this is like all the thoughts. I'm just running it through. Still, I have this fear. So, and then what works for me is talking myself logically out of it. So the logic way out of this fear is, well, if I don't do it, I won't find new clients, for example. I may miss out on helping a lot of people who really, really need my help. And that's really bad, because if I don't help them, they might burn out. They might, lose their businesses. They might end up in hospital, whatever it is. And if I don't post that, maybe someone who really needs to hear this message today doesn't hear it, and who knows what is going to happen with them. And then on the other side is, if I now procrastinate and I don't do it right now, then my brain will get used to it and I will never do this task. Plus, maybe I'm going to lose out on great connections, money, on, whatever it is in the next however many months. So talking myself logically out of these reasons, and then making comparison with the worst case scenario. So let's just say I want to post something and it's a little bit controversial and I'm afraid of rejection. I say, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, worst case scenario, I get a death threat again. I have some trolls on my post to complain about how I look like again, and tell me I'm racist, I'm stupid, I'm sexist, I'm a bitch, whatever. Sorry. And then I'll be like, how bad would it be? And I know exactly, well, these people are just trolls. They're behind their keyboards. They feel safe. But people who do that, they are always worse off than yourself. And they never, they never have anything great to say anyways. So talking yourself logically through these fears, and then finding the worst case scenario, and then actually making a comparison or like a statistics how valid is the worst case scenario, basically. And usually it doesn't even doesn't even come up, so then you can just do it. Other than that, how else can we improve it? Meditation is always a really good thing in the morning. I do love morning routines, where instead of waking up being on your phone, you wake up and you set yourself up for a great day and success. So that means, for example, you do exercise, always good for the body, for the mind, for the soul. Meditation, for example, breathing exercise, whatever it is. And then you could either write down what you want to achieve for the day, or what results you got yesterday. Again, go through your achievements. Maybe you've traveled a lot like me, then you can look back on your Instagram from 3 years ago. 3 years ago today, I was there and there and there, like bring yourself back to what you've already achieved, so that you can go back anytime to these successes. So, yeah.
All right. Great. Well, I guess we have a little bit more to say on this in part 3, because we're going to be giving our top 3 favorite methods or tools to achieve a growth mindset, or to grow a growth mindset. But I guess we should take a bit of a musical break.
Yes.
And refresh our brains a little bit while we think of those 3 things, if we haven't already. Okay, so this is a song called Stop This Flame by Celeste. New song this year. All right, we'll be back shortly. If you have any questions for us, send them in to the Facebook page, Relax Time Radio. All right.
My heart goes up, my heart goes down. We fall in love and we fall back out. I'll give you anything you want. stop, but I keep on going. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Keep on, keep on, keep on. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go. Well, who am I to say? Maybe by now you should know. You got your somebody calling. You think you're somebody, don't you? I think you're scared of keeping somebody close. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go. 'Cause it ain't enough, or did I move too far? It's all too much. I think I must be mad to give you everything I had, everything I had, everything, everything, but it still went bad. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Tell me to stop, but I keep on going. Keep on, keep on, keep on. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go. Well, who am I to say? Maybe by now you should know. You got your somebody calling. You think you're somebody, don't you? I think you're scared of keeping somebody close. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go. Keep away from me if you can't withstand my love. Keep away from me if you think you must. Keep away from me if you can't withstand my love. Keep away from me if you think you must. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go. Well, who am I to say? Maybe by now you should know. You got your somebody calling. You think you're somebody, don't you? I think you're scared of keeping somebody close. You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go.
Your lips are moving, but I don't really understand what you're saying when you talk to me. You know what you're doing, and you're rather not be talking to me to where you are with me. So don't test it, it's too high. Doing the wrong thing with the right guy. I won't lie, though you try to make me say so. Baby, don't think right now. Stay up, but lie down. Fuck how, no, it's so hard to say no. I'm like, wow, wow, ain't no need to sell it. You know you don't gotta do extra, and you about to make me do extra. Just keep going, wow, wow, ain't no need to tell it. Now you get an A for effort. You ain't even gotta do extra. Useless motives, and I'm already knowing what you're thinking about how you talk to me. Now that we rolling, going far enough to take us away. Keep your body right there. Keep your body right there. I'm like, wow, wow, ain't no need to sell it. You know you don't gotta do extra. And you about to make me do extra. Just keep going, wow, wow, ain't no need to tell it. You know you get an A for effort. You ain't even gotta do extra. I knew it was on when I met her at the bar. We could never turn it off, so we keep it rolling. Wanted to see my room, never been a 5-star. She giving more than her all, yeah, she overflowing. Nobody ever did it to her body, I just threw her good vibes, and she threw the vibe right back. Always invited to the party, let her body do the talk. Champagne ain't the only thing drained in this motherfucker. No, you still around, stay real. I know you give me something I can feel, for real. Money keep on stacking to the sky. See it in your eye. Wanna give you something you can feel. We keep going round and round on wheels. If we wouldn't know we gon' die.
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Hey, we're back. Actually, that was Lucky Day with a song called Extra. And we had a caller.
Yes,
That was
Tom called us.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Good to have you listening as usual. And thanks for the song request. We're going to play something from Earth, Wind & Fire for you as the closing song. I'm thinking Fantasy. I hope that's all right. Because I played After the Love Is Gone a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Fantasy. All right, so let's wrap it up, shall we? Our top 3 ways. Oh, well, no, do you have some resources and recommendations for people as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We do. So, I have a whole library of books, but I'm gonna pick like the top 3 maybe as well.
Sure.
So 3 books that will really help you going from fixed to growth mindset. A book that's called Mindset. It's from Dr. Carol Dweck. And so Dr. Carol Dweck was Dweck. And she really went deep into studying people's mindsets. And actually, she's conducted many of the studies we also talked about. And it's a really amazing book and definitely going to help you to understand, first of all, belief systems and whatever, and how to change them.
Can we post? Do you think we should post links to these books in the Facebook thing? Maybe we could do that.
Yeah, we can definitely post the names. I have them all on Audible, so they're all audiobooks because I listen. But you can probably buy them on wherever you buy your books too.
Yeah.
So then there is one that I feel would be really, really helpful to learn about, which is called Letting Go from David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD. And so Dr. Hawkins has basically written a book about the art of surrendering. And it has more to do with emotions. I don't know if you know about the pyramid and the vibrational value of emotions, if you ever heard of that.
I've heard lots of different pyramids. There's one that's to do with sort of like emotional awareness. I know Maslow's pyramid, hierarchy of needs. I don't know them all.
Yeah.
There's probably too many pyramids for me to know them all.
Oh, definitely. So basically it says that every emotion has a vibrational value, and he walks you through how to surrender, for example, your fear or your anger or whatever, and then basically climb this value ladder. And apathy is the lowest you can have, and it's 0.
Right.
And so basically because it doesn't trigger you to do anything. And I think fear is 200, and then from there you go up. And peace would be 1,000, so 1,000 is the highest you can get. So this is a really good book. And the third one, and I'm trying to pick some that are very, very different, so you can have an array of books basically. One guy that I really, really like, it just the way he talks about and everything, is Dr. Joe Dispenza. You might have heard of him. And he talks about metaphysics and all this type of things a lot. And he has a book that's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it's basically different meditation techniques, you would love it, of changing your neural pathways and your mindset and everything. So these 3 books are very different, but they will all come together and basically help you to recreate yourself if you like.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So maybe we can post those books in the post.
Yeah.
If you want to find out more about them. So the top 3 then. I've worked out a top 3 for myself. Shall I go first?
Yes, please.
Just thinking from my own experience, the sort of first 3 things that came to mind for me were, one is taking small steps, or becoming like happy with making small little bits of progress, instead of, I think it was definitely inhibiting factor when I was younger in taking up new things. That I wanted to be good all at once, and I was impatient.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like taking up music and learning a language later in life. Yeah, I was forced to become happy with making small bits of progress here and there, and being happy with that. Like, for example, learning an instrument, being happy with being able to play a scale or just make a good sound, one good note. So that's one thing. And as I just found a line that I really liked on the internet, said, learning fast isn't the same as learning well. That's so true in music. It's probably true in everything.
Yep.
If you learn fast, you'll skip important things, and then you won't have learned well.
Yep.
Second, and it's linked, is to find a way to enjoy the process of learning. So the practice doesn't happen at once, and we've talked about this in a previous show, that it can sometimes take a month, a couple of months, to start to enjoy the process of learning. And eventually that process of learning becomes a practice, becomes a habit, and you look forward to it and you enjoy it. So that means the result of this is that you become journey focused and not goal focused. So you start to enjoy the process. And so the goal of becoming a good musician, or good at a new computer skill, or good at, I don't know, acrobatics or dancing or whatever it is, starts to just diminish in importance, and you start to realize that you would continue to learn even if you never became the greatest, etc.
Yeah.
Because you've learned to enjoy the process of learning, the practice of it, etc. You get benefit out of that. Then finally, like for me, it was very important, like in learning saxophone, was really important to take risks, because I was thrown by my friends, musicians, onto the stage when it was in no way reasonable for me to expect, or anybody to expect me to do anything like fantastic musically. And so I had to like be comfortable with what I would call small failures almost, I had to take risks, do things, play out of a comfort zone. Literal. I would almost say I had to be comfortable in some way with what I might have called playing badly or doing things badly, because when you start to take risks and realize, I'm still okay. Okay, that didn't go as well as I would have hoped, but I'm still okay. In actual fact, and my friends are still happy with me, and they're happy with me because I was brave enough to go and try.
Yeah.
And do my best. This kind of thing. So that's the willingness to fail in these small ways is essential, in my view, to learning and progressing and eventual success.
Definitely. I think they are really good 3 things. All right. So my favorite methods or tools, I think what I do also in my business a lot is assessment, reviews, however you want to call them. So looking back, whether it's every day or every week, and just asking you really important and honest questions is, for me, the way how you can move forward. Because if you don't look back, and I don't mean looking back as in dwelling on something, but making a review or assessing what you've done or how you feel or why you made these decisions, can help you move forward in different directions or making different decisions. The second one definitely is for me to have a bulletproof, I like bulletproof morning routine. Because also often we wake up and go on the phone and we mess up our whole day already because we see something that we don't like, or, you know.
Yep.
And so that can really get us into this fixed mindset, because then we are frustrated or angry or just like triggered about something. And so the third one for me is just, I think it's just knowing and acknowledging that I'm never done doing the work, and that this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that even if I today didn't do, you know, all of the tasks I want to do or whatever, that tomorrow I have a new chance. Not seeing this as an excuse, but also not beating myself up for the failures.
Right, got you. I like the fact that we always have like quite different top threes, because you're someone who's like practiced much more. I'm very sort of like a little bit abstract and philosophical, and you have this is actually how you do it. You know, you have a morning routine, or you do this, or you do that. So
I love that.
Yeah, I think well, hopefully this benefited in both of our ideas.
Definitely.
I think yours are definitely more practical, and yeah. Okay.
Should we play music for Tom?
Definitely. In that case, are we gonna say goodnight?
Well, yes.
Okay.
So maybe we can have 2 songs.
I think we will. We'll play Tom's first, because that means we'll get through all of it. So thanks so much for tuning in. Relax Time Radio will be with you, could be with you every night of the week, 7:30 to 9 p.m. Broadcast here on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai. Tomorrow, it's Legal Matters with Tom Jarun Gase Suk. So tune in for that. I'll be here on Sunday with the Jazz, Blues and Soul Show, and we'll be back next week.
That's right.
And good luck with your upcoming trip.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I'm not back, or I have to tune in, then I'm in self-quarantine.
Okay. Have a good weekend. Yeah, it's Friday night, so have a great weekend, everybody. And this is for you, Tom. Earth, Wind and Fire Fantasy.
Good night.
Yes, I'm free. Now I'm on my way. Come to see victory in a land called fantasy. Love and light on you and me. To behold to your soul is ecstasy. You will find of the kind that has been in search of you. Many lives has brought you to recognize it's your life now in review.
Sunshine on me 目が覚めて聞こえるご機嫌なメロディー今朝君が珍しく先に起きて Rise and shine You talk to me like you see笑うたびに You make me happy When you wake up every morning 鼻に水をあげるように Shower your love on me And you're feeling up, just feeling up まるでバター and bread 二人を理想で We melt into one as a middle kiss Hot chocolate Feel like I'm dreaming Oh darling Tell me what is that Today's specialこの頃ずっと You know I'm feeling good 雨の後虹がかかるのすべて君のせいにして踊ろう We're gonna lose track of time Oh let me know what you see 今だけは Want you to look at only me 言葉にしなくてもこれが I know I guess now I know how much you love me Feeling up, just feeling up まるでバター and bread 二人を理想で We melt into one as a middle kiss Hot chocolate Feel like I'm dreaming Oh darling Tell me what is that Today's special
You've been listening to Relax Time Radio on Radio Thailand Chiang Mai.
Watch our live stream on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.